Now on CoastTV News.
Cell phones in schools. It's day one in Dover, and lawmakers are already pushing a bill to regulate devices in the classroom. Healthcare expansion. Beebe CEO Dr. Tam gave an update on hospital plans at Millville's town council meeting tonight.
We're tracking an Arctic blast that could bring with it a little wintry mix our way.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Delaware lawmakers wasting no time today advancing a bill that could reshape how schools handle a daily distraction, cell phones. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. It's our top story tonight. The Delaware House passed that bipartisan legislation today, Senate Bill 106. It would require school districts and charter schools to adopt a policy to restrict student use of phones during school hours, and the regulations would be created with teacher input. The bill now heads back to the Senate for consideration. Again, this was just day one of the legislative session today, both the House and the Senate reconvening, and there are plenty more topics that lawmakers are looking to address this year. Sussex County Democrat Russ Huxtable told us he expects affordable housing to be a big topic, along with improving health care access in southern Delaware. Milford Representative Brian Shoup said he's hoping education funding will get an overhaul.
So on creating the requirements for identification for voting. So you must have a photo ID that is a driver's license, a U.S. passport, or identification from the state of Delaware.
Now the legislative session runs until June 30th in Dover. Meanwhile, Maryland and Virginia's legislative sessions begin tomorrow. Lawmakers in Annapolis expected to tackle the state's $1.5 billion budget deficit. And in Virginia, legislators are considering constitutional amendments, including for abortion and same-sex marriage rights. New tonight, Beebe Healthcare CEO and President Dr. David Tam was a guest speaker at the Millville Town Council meeting. Dr. Tam gave a presentation laying out the changes that Beebe has made and their plans for the future, including information on Delaware's first ever medical school. CoastTV photojournalist Matt Hipsman takes us inside that Millville meeting.
And we are able to continue to support the community.
We've watched Beebe come into this community, and we've seen them put the proof in their claims that they're here to help us.
I'm really excited to hear that more things are coming. The medical school, better care for geriatric patients. I've been very, very pleased with the quality of care that I received here from everyone. The nurses have been fantastic. Everyone has been fantastic.
Because there is a lack of home health care aides.
They're paying attention to the community and what the needs are. And they're also, behind the wheel. They're driving, but who's putting gas in the car? Where's it coming from? How are we going to grow and sustain that growth here in Sussex County?
Today, the Sussex County Council denied a zoning change for a massive commercial development in Lewis. It would go here where you just saw on Route 24 and Mulberry Knoll Road. A shopping mall was planned with some major names: Whole Foods, Costco, Target. But as Emma Aiken reports, it was denied today, and people at that meeting were celebrating.
A room filled with applause after Sussex County Council voted 5-0 to deny the Atlantic Fields shopping mall off Route 24. The mall included major stores like Costco, Whole Foods, and Target. TJ Maxx and Ross in negotiations to join too. Allison Antes, who lives on the highway, says if the development were approved, she would have moved.
We already have problems with our infrastructure, and it's really just irresponsible to continue to overburden what we already doesn't serve us.
And the council today agreed, saying they were forced to deny the project due to the state's lack of planning when it comes to the roads in Sussex County. The developing group claims the shopping mall here would generate $79 million in labor money per year, create 750 permanent jobs, and even more construction jobs. Karen Levin says she understands the commercial appeal, but the area just can't take more traffic.
I mean, everybody would love those type of stores at Atlantic Fields, but it's just ridiculously, I mean, I was in an accident off of Warrington Road. That's exactly where that is.
For now, no zone change for Atlantic Fields.
That was Emma Aiken reporting. Again, the county saying they were forced to deny today solely due to the state's failure to invest in these areas. Sussex County Councilman McCarran saying in part, quote, Sussex County cannot continue to serve as the ATM for the rest of the state while receiving inadequate infrastructure in return. We did ask DelDOT for their response to the county's reasoning today, but DelDOT said they would not provide a comment. And you might be wondering what happens now. The thing is, this land you see on your screen, it's not going to stay this way, even though that zoning change was denied. The county council says developers can look for an appeal in the courts, or they can come back with a new plan that's in line with the current zoning. The developer previously told CoastTV the land will not remain a soybean farm and that development on the land will move forward with housing options. This brings us right to our CoastTV poll. We're asking what you think Sussex County should prioritize during Route 24 developments. Let's look here. 72% say traffic solutions. That really has been the most popular answer all day. 15% say economic growth. 10% say environmental impact. You can still vote too. Go to coasttv.com, use our mobile app. Let us know what you think. Now we're going to take a live look into Ocean City, and our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a check on your forecast.
Well, we're starting to already feel the chill in the air even as we speak right now, because even though we're in the 40s, it's not feeling like it. It's got a very cold cut to the feel in the air, actually, but temperatures are still in the 40s. Wait till you get the haymaker of what we were expecting Friday morning. That's called a spoiler alert, or better yet, more like a trigger warning, okay? But you'll see that as we progress throughout the forecast. But take a look right now. We're at 47 in Milton as well as Long Neck and in Georgetown. It's 48 degrees in Millsboro, Gumboro, Delmar, and Salisbury. Now, we're actually warmer right now, 17, even 17 degrees warmer now than we were just 24 hours ago. But we will plummet the opposite direction after we get past Wednesday. But Wednesday, we're going to hold on to just one more day of mild weather before things really begin to tank. But we're starting to see evidence of it early because the winds are picking up momentum with a small craft advisory that's active in our area. And that's really across the entire Delmar Peninsula, all of the beach property, so to speak. And as we widen the view here, we can see trough is going to begin to move in our direction, dragging some cloud cover our way first, and then the cold will come after.
Thanks, Paul. This afternoon, Delaware Senator Chris Coons spoke on the Senate floor to honor the life of Delaware State Police Corporal Matthew Ty Snook, who was killed in the line of duty on December 23rd. Here's what Senator Coons had to say today.
I am so grateful for the service and sacrifice of Corporal Ty Snook of the Delaware State Police, a peacemaker, a hero, someone who deserves to be a legend in our national law enforcement community. May the God of love welcome you into his arms.
And the Rehoboth Beach Barbell Club is hosting an event honoring Corporal Snook. He was again killed while working an overtime shift at the Wilmington DMV just days before Christmas. According to their Facebook page, the Lift in Honor is happening this Saturday, January 17th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to bring people together through powerlifting and fitness challenges. The club says all participants' donations will directly go to the official fundraiser supporting Corporal Snook's family. Well, the Supreme Court heard arguments today in two blockbuster cases challenging transgender sports bans. At issue, as Michael Yoshida reports, is whether state bans are permitted under federal law.
Our nation's highest court hearing arguments on transgender athlete participation bans. The issue before the Supreme Court after a college student in Idaho and a high schooler in West Virginia challenged laws in their states that restricted transgender students from playing on sports teams that are consistent with their gender identities.
So how do you square our various case law, all of whom involved a subclass of people who challenged on equal protection grounds their exclusion from a definition?
At the heart of both cases, whether the state bans violate equal protections of the 14th Amendment and Title IX. which bans discrimination in education on the basis of sex.
Idaho's law classifies on the basis of sex because sex is what matters in sports. It correlates strongly with countless athletic advantages. If women don't have their own competitions, they won't be able to compete. Gender identity does not matter in sports.
The states argue their bans are about creating an even playing field. The challengers say they're being discriminated towards on the basis of sex and transgender status.
By categorically excluding all students with the biological sex of male from women's teams. Sex classifications like that are closely scrutinized under the Equal Protection Clause to ensure they rest on evidence, not supposition.
Across the country, 27 states have enacted restrictions on transgender students' participation in sports. A ruling from the Supreme Court on the Idaho and West Virginia laws is expected by the end of June. In Washington, Michael Yoshida.
We've got more news coming up ahead tonight, including how long the Route 50 bridge in Ocean City will be closed for and how that could impact your commute. But first, the Ocean City Council and their latest move on short-term rental regulations. And coming up, Paul Williams is tracking your forecast in the CoastTV First Alert Weather Center. He's got your full forecast right after this.
I don't know if we should go into mourning right now, or we should probably hold off on it, because just having, manageable days of weather is really nice. Just nice 50-degree days and some sunshine. Beautiful thing. And listen, tomorrow, another manageable day. But I'm going to be real honest with you. By this weekend, you're probably not going to like me. But I got to tell you the truth anyway. That's what friends do, right? I got to tell you the truth. So here we go. 48 for us right now. And the truth is right now, everything's fine. We're at 42 degrees. Tonight's not a problem. 47 in Long Neck, Milton, as well as Georgetown. Now, we do have a small craft advisory, which means we're watching out for about 25 mile per hour winds until about midday tomorrow morning, mid-morning. That's when the winds are really going to start dying down, but then the cold air will start to make its way towards us. Let me kind of give you a hint as to what's on the way. You see, our freeze potential is not a problem for Wednesday. That's why Wednesday is an A-OK day. Thursday, it's all right, bearable. Friday, here we go. And look at all the days following Friday. In fact, I want to show you, just as a joke, but I'm serious. You see how all these categories go all the way down to hard freeze? You notice this line goes beyond hard freeze? That's how cold it's about to feel on a consistent basis. But we're going to have a chance of rain for Thursday early in the morning. It comes over as rain. Then it could possibly change over to a little bit of snow. But that was looking kind of iffy, so I had to investigate that a little bit deeper. But Wednesday, we start off cloudy. Thursday, we have a touch of snow, but it just flashes on a different model. You see, we're only looking at about a 15% chance of rain or snow on Thursday in the first place. So it's hit and miss at best in the first place. So then we kind of start breaking this down on a more localized level. So first of all, by 9 o'clock in the morning, the threat of any kind of snow is out of the picture, right? And the same holds true for us on the other side, too. So our chances of snow in the model runs are diminishing our opportunities for snow in the first place. The winds are picking up momentum on Thursday out of the northwest at about 32 miles per hour. It's going to make that cold come in with a vengeance, okay? And this is the big story. This is the reason why you're not going to like me. And I get it. I understand. But I'm still going to love you regardless, okay? Friday morning, when you wake up Friday morning, it's going to feel like 10 degrees in Lewis at 6:30. It's going to feel like 9 degrees in Ellendale, Milton, Georgetown, Seaford, Millsboro, Selbyville 10, Berlin 10, Fenwick Island 10, and Delmar 10. And to be quite honest, since it's Tuesday now, by the time we get to Friday, it may actually feel colder than this. Here's a look at your extended forecast. And the other news is this. You see this over here? Look on the right side of your screen. See here? See where my hand is? That 28? That's the high for the day. Then we drop down to 17, and that's not even taking into account the wind chill factor.
All right. Thank you, Paul, for keeping us in the know. Short-term rental regulations in Ocean City. You know, it's been a hot topic for more than a year now. We've been telling you about this. Today, the Ocean City Council discussed how to move forward with short-term rental licenses. This is for residential areas and mobile home communities. The council has now brought 5 options down to 1 option. CoastTV reporter Kevin Zappe shows us what that option is that has been moved to a future work session.
I really wish you would seriously consider and take into account the rights of every property owner.
Short-term rentals in these areas were the main discussion during Tuesday's Ocean City Council meeting, specifically on what to do with short-term rental licenses being purchased, something the town believes is a growing concern, while others don't think so.
We should be fixing problems and not stealing rights.
The council originally had 5 options on the table for what regulations they should implement to short-term rental licenses, but after a lengthy discussion, one option was approved for a future work session. The option that was moved forward would limit the amount of short-term rental licenses in these areas to only 10% of the total lots. Primary homeowners would get first dibs at purchasing a license, and at a later date, non-primary Ocean City homeowners would have the ability to apply if the cap has not been reached. Miller believes that is not fair.
I think that we shouldn't restrict it for anyone, but if you are a homesteader, you should have the right to rent your home.
With the clear option now moving forward, homeowners will have to wait and see whether this proposed regulation becomes official. I'm Kevin Zappe, Ocean City, Coast TV News.
Town officials say they also plan to discuss possible regulations to manage the turnover and the operation of short-term rentals in those areas. They say they'll do that in a future council meeting. And according to the Ocean City agenda, if a 10% cap was approved, that would allow for 375 short-term rental licenses in those residential areas and mobile home communities. Right now, there are 341 licenses in those areas, so those owners would be allowed to keep their licenses and the remaining 34 would be up for grabs. A big change is coming to commutes in and out of Ocean City. Take a look here from our Coast Copter. Drivers will have to detour around a full closure of the Route 50 drawbridge. That's from January 20th until February 3rd. Traffic will be routed up US 113 near Berlin over Route 90 and back into town on Coastal Highway. Ocean City's fire department is urging drivers to plan ahead, slow down, and give yourself some extra time once the detour begins next week.
We have a lot of folks who drop their kids off to the elementary school or Seaside Christian Academy or to work over here. Go ahead and practice that route so you understand how much time you're going to have so that you can slow down and not be rushing to work, creating more accidents.
Fire officials also say staffing and resource allotment are being adjusted so that emergency coverage remains strong on both sides of the bay. Still ahead tonight, cancer deaths are declining in the U.S., but millions of people will still be diagnosed this year. We look at the progress and the gaps in tonight's Health Minute.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
The FDA wants suicide warnings to be taken off of some popular weight loss medications. The request follows an FDA review that found no increased risk of suicidal thoughts or behaviors with the use of GLP-1 medications. The affected products include Eli Lilly's Zepbound and Novo Nordisk's Wegovy and Saxenda. Well, we are less than 2 weeks into the new year, and today a leading U.S. health organization is releasing its annual report on what to expect in 2026 when it comes to cancer cases and death rates. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has a look at that data.
First, the good news. In a new annual report, the American Cancer Society says cancer deaths continue to decline in the U.S., largely due to less smoking, earlier detection of cancers, and improved treatments.
We've made more progress in the treatment of metastatic cancer in the last 20 years than we did in the history of mankind before then. So we are making real progress.
But there's bad news too. In 2026, the organization projects more than 2.1 million new cancer cases in the U.S., along with more than 626,000 cancer deaths. Lung cancer remains the leading cause of those deaths, killing more people than colorectal and pancreatic cancers combined. Those are the next 2 deadliest cancers.
We've seen a 5-time improvement in overall survival for metastatic lung cancer patients, but it's only at 10%. So while there's been great improvement there, there's still a long way to go.
Disparities also remain. Alaska Natives and Native Americans have the highest cancer death rates. The organization says that's largely driven by lack of access to care, as well as environment and lifestyle. Black women are also less likely to survive breast cancer and are more likely to be diagnosed at a later stage and have poorer outcomes for endometrial and uterine cancers. The U.S. continues to see rates climb for men with advanced prostate cancer, and Black men are more likely to be diagnosed and die from that disease.
There's still a lot of work to be done.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Coming up in sports, a Salisbury University football player is transferring to the Division I level. He's not going far, though. We'll tell you where. Looks like flights out west could be coming to the Salisbury Regional Airport. Salisbury Airport Director Tony Rudy says his staff and local officials would like to talk with American Airlines about expanding flights. Rudy says there is a specific airport in mind, but he was not willing to share which one. Should this happen, though, local officials say they think there would be plenty of interest here on Delmarva. Speaking of traveling, going from country to country without any restrictions and also shorter lines at the border, maybe reconnecting with family roots, all that and more, it's the dream of people who seek dual citizenship. And as Ivan Rodriguez reports, in the last several years, Americans are among the top globally of people searching for a second passport.
For as long as migration has existed, many immigrants who naturalize in a new country have wanted to retain their citizenship of origin. In recent decades, the wealthy have also embraced dual citizenship as a way to expand global mobility.
What we've seen over the last probably 4 or 5 years especially is a significant increase in demand from more developed nations. So the US is the clear sort of leader in that regard.
Dominic Volek is group head of private clients for Henley & Partners, which assists high net worth individuals in attaining dual citizenship around the globe. Last year, they assisted clients of 91 nationalities, but Americans were top of the list. A November Gallup poll found that 1 in 5 Americans would like to emigrate, including 40% of women aged 15 to 44, a 400% increase on a similar poll taken in 2014.
We had a few, interesting political cycles, and so both sides of the political spectrum had concerns on the other and vice versa, and so they were looking to build in that optionality.
Professor Peter Spiro with Temple University says, in a way, gaining dual citizenship can serve as an insurance policy.
Even if you're never going to use it, just knowing that you've got that other passport in the drawer results in a kind of peace of mind.
And other than application fees, experts say there's little downside to obtaining dual citizenship, especially if it's through descent.
Most countries, there are very few obligations of citizenship that apply if you're living outside of the country.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studio.
A seagull is set to become a fighting blue hen. Delaware football is in need of a kicker, and the program searched the peninsula for a replacement. Salisbury kicker Tucker Smack announced he's transferring to the University of Delaware for his senior season. That means he's going from Division III to Division I. Quite the jump. Smack, who has an all-time name for a kicker, by the way, went 5 for 6 on field goals this past fall with a long of 37 yards. He also made 92% of his extra points. Smack is set to fight for the job to replace Nate Reed, who was an All-CUSA second-team selection in his final season with Delaware this year. Reed also laid the groundwork for Smack to succeed. The prior was a Division II transfer from East Stroudsburg University, showing that a kicker who started at a lower level of football can succeed in the FBS. That's not the only transfer the Blue Hens added from the area. Late last week, Delaware announced that it added defensive end James Steele as a mid-year transfer from UAB. Steele won 2 state championships and 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards with Caravel Academy back in high school. And an update from this afternoon in the NFL, the Eagles announced they're moving on from their offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo after just 1 season in that role. Philadelphia ranked 24th in total offense this year, so someone else will lead that group next fall. We'll keep you updated with any updates when we get them. That'll do it for sports. Have a nice night.
Coming up next, a Sussex County chef taking her skills to the Winter Olympics. We'll introduce you. One Sussex County chef is taking her skills to the Winter Olympics. For 35 years, Maria Frazier had a landscaping business, but now she's the executive chef at Cafe on 26 in Ocean View. World-renowned Italian chef and the Olympics culinary director Carlo Zari started coming to Cafe on 26 when visiting Delaware's coast. So Maria was selected to be one of 6 American chefs joining Chef Zari for the Olympics.
I'm sure I'll be working a lot, I'll be prepping a lot and cooking on the line a lot, which is fine with me because I'm used to doing that here 18 hours a day.
Maria says she's not exactly sure what she's going to be cooking in Italy, but says she's excited to bring some Delmarva with her and hopefully some Italian cuisine back here to Delmarva. And a quick reminder, the Winter Olympics start on February 6th until February 22nd. You can only watch right here on CoastTV.
So we take a look at Dover right now. We're a very mild 50 degrees. I sure hope you enjoy this one more day for Wednesday, because after that, it goes to becoming real cold real quick. We're going to drop down to about 45 degrees with partly to mostly cloudy skies. We do have a small craft advisory that's in effect around the Delmarva Peninsula, so please keep that in mind. Now for Milford, we're continuing to expect for it to stay pretty clear for us overall, but our umbrella winner, Roy Stanley of Millsboro, congratulations. Courtesy of Paul Davis. We can catch up with your forecast by calling our weather line. And here's a look at your 10-day forecast.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find more news, more local weather. Just download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.